Today I'm going to be working on this PlayStation 5. This PS5 belongs to my stepson, and my son, my autistic 7-year-old, threw it out the bedroom window. I've just filmed a video on the Xbox Series S. That one will be coming out before this one, so if you haven't watched it already, I do recommend watching that one first. But basically, I have a autistic 7-year-old son, and unfortunately that means that he does very, very unpredictable things, such as throwing PlayStation 5s out of the bedroom window. So just for a little bit of context here, the windows open normally like a normal window would, but there's also the letterbox windows on the top, right? And the normal windows, the ones that he could climb out of, they're locked. They're always locked. So he obviously can't climb out and, you know, fall out the window and stuff like that. But the top letterbox windows, they're open. They obviously have to allow airflow and stuff like that. And yeah, this ended up out the window, and also the Series S ended up out the window. So yeah, this is going to be video number 2 on this little saga for my own broken stuff, which my son has decided to break. Before the comment police come, yes, he is autistic. Yes, he did throw the console out the window, and yes, that is probably my fault, or at least my 16-year-old stepson's fault, because he was babysitting at the time. This was sat outside for I don't know how long before he even realised. And because I don't go to that area of the garden, I didn't know. I don't really mess with the kids' consoles, right? So I don't know how long this was sat outside for. I don't know what's happened to it, what kind of damage has been done to it. But yeah, this video I'm going to be trying to obviously take a look at it and see what's going on, and hopefully be able to fix it. This has got one of the fastest 2-second blue light, well, fastest blue lights of death I've ever seen in my life. Check this out. Yeah, you see that? I don't know. That's the fastest blue light I've ever seen on the PlayStation 5. So, yeah, with that being said, my name's Hakko. I'm an electronics technician. I mainly work on games consoles, but I do work on other stuff as well. So if that's the sort of stuff you're into, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notifications, and that way you won't miss any future videos. If you need to organise a repair, if your autistic son has thrown your PlayStation 5 out the window, or if you've just got a broken console like normal people do, then be sure to get in touch with me at www.thecody.repair. And if you need parts and supplies for these, I'll sell non-broken ones on my website, consolefix.shop. All of the links in the video description, as well as links to all of the tools and stuff that I use here. And by the way, follow me on TikTok, because I've started posting more shorts and stuff on there, you know, try and get some new viewers over from TikTok to YouTube, stuff like that. So give me a follow over on TikTok, and yeah, you'll be able to see some short form content over there. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. I'm not looking forward to this one. Alright, so like I say, I've just posted a video on the other one. This is absolutely filthy. I don't know if this is the one, and you're going to think I'm really bad here. This is going to change your perception of me, okay? But I don't know if this is the console that my nephew, my partner's nephew, accidentally dropped an ashtray in. So I'm going to put a pair of gloves on. So a couple of months ago, we let him stay over for the night, and we don't smoke anywhere in the house apart from in the back room, because there's a big patio door. He's slept on the sofa, and he's had the ashtray out of the back room and put it in the living room. Like, that's obviously a no-no straight away, but then it's ended up dropping in the PS5, or in one of our PS5s, and I don't know which PS5 it is because I just haven't got around to looking at it. But this is absolutely filthy, and one thing I've noticed with this, as I just show you this up close, what's going on. See how fast that goes off? Yeah, one thing I've noticed with this is, I think this has been outside for a while. It's rusty. Like, the USB port itself is rusty, so it's definitely liquid damaged. So like I said, I don't know how long it's been outside, but yeah, I don't go in that area of the garden, so I haven't really, oh wow, I've just put this back on to start the video. That was tight. I don't know how long this has been outside or anything. So yeah, let me just show you this again. Now you can actually see the LED bar, but I am seeing some broken case there as well. So just for a little bit more context, this has fallen from around about 20 feet. But look at how fast that blue light goes off. But yeah, I'm going to get this apart. I'm going to fast forward through this bit, and obviously if I see anything interesting, then I'll resume at that part. But I'm going to fast forward through this bit. I'm going to get this apart, and I'll see what's going on with the console itself. Wow. Already, straight away. I mean, number one, it's absolutely filthy inside. There's the CR2032. Just hanging around. Okay, this is not going to be good at all. This is going to be probably unfixable. Okay. Right, so we've got some very obvious liquid damage signs. This drive is rusty, so he has been outside for a while. Check that out. Yeah, we've got signs of liquid damage around there. Okay, so while I'm taking this apart, I'm just gonna, as I'm unplugging everything, just see what I can, well, see if it fires up while I'm unplugging stuff, but no, that's not gonna cut it. So yeah, the disk drive being unplugged and the CR2032 not being in there, that's fine. That's not going to cause it to not turn on. It would still boot up without the battery and stuff. So I've got a feeling that my stepson has probably noticed that this is been thrown outside, or he's caught him just in time or whatever, and he's tried to power it back on. Because you wouldn't get corrosion unless power's going through it, right? And these consoles, well, yeah, they shouldn't have had any charge in them, because it's been a couple of months since the ashtray incident. It's been a couple of months since it actually got used, right? And the reason for that is because I told my stepson not to use it because of the ashtray incident. Fun fact, this console is actually the first console, the first PS5 that I ever worked on. When I first started doing PS5 repairs, you know, when they first come out, the first ever console I worked on, I couldn't fix. It was a blue light of death, and I couldn't fix it. And I ended up buying it off the customer. I paid, I think it was £100 for it. So I bought it off the customer. It sat for months. I don't even know how long. It sat for months in my workshop, just sat there. And I always said to myself, right, I'll use that for parts, or I'll revisit it at some point. And then one day, I got a PS5 in for repair, and I found that there was a short on the 5-volt rail where F700 is. And I thought to myself, oh, I'll just have a look at this, you know, this console. And it turned out that it was the same fault. So I managed to fix it, and I ended up giving it to my stepson for Christmas that year. You know, I got a controller in a box and all of that sort of stuff, and I gave him, you know, I managed to give him a PS5 for Christmas. Because back then, it was when all the scalpers were buying them, and they couldn't really, you know, you couldn't really get hold of them for less than like £800. So I put off buying one because I refused to let the scalpers win, basically. Oh wow, that is pretty bad. Yeah, I refused to let the scalpers win, so I ended up paying like £100 for this, and then I ended up fixing it a while later, and yeah, there we were. So that's the story behind this console, but it hasn't been serviced since, and that was like 2021 or something. I haven't taken it apart since then. But what I need to do, before I go any further, before I do anything at all, I need to visually inspect the board and just see what kind of damage we're looking at. I am really, really hoping that this isn't cracked APU joints. And I'm hoping that it's not a cracked APU itself. So I'm under the scope, and I'm going to inspect the APU first by just removing all of the liquid metal. So I'm going to get rid of this foam pad. I need to inspect the APU die itself, because a common thing with these is the die ends up cracking and you can't see it with the liquid metal in place. So yeah, I'm just going to remove the liquid metal from it. I can always add more liquid metal afterwards, so not a problem. The liquid metal's actually held up pretty well in this since I first worked on it. It is a little bit oxidised now. Okay, so the APU looks absolutely fine. I can't see any cracks on it or any chips in the actual die itself. So I'm just going to respread this liquid metal. So next I'm going to need to inspect the die on the SSD controller. That looks fine. Can't see any chips or cracks in that as well. Okay, I can replace that paste on there later on, but yeah, not seeing any damage on there. Let's just get rid of that. Oh, hang on. No, it is damaged. Can you see that in the top corner? So we do have some damage to the die on the SSD controller. So that could be what's causing this to shut down. We do have a little bit of liquid metal here, but I think that, well, it could be off my finger. Or it could have been there all along. I don't know. Was that there all along? Maybe. So that might not be affecting it. But there's a little bit of liquid metal on the board. That could have been from the previous repair, you know, the very first repair that I ever did to this. Just a bit that I've missed. So I'll get rid of that. Yeah, that's been there a while. It's a bit stuck to the board. So, yeah, that's been there for a while. What's the situation with the disk drive connector? Because that's pretty rough. It's liquid damaged. Might need replacing. It needs a good ultrasonic clean on the board, I know that much. Yeah, this has got to go in the ultrasonic cleaner. It's got stuff all over it. So if I get the board working, I'll ultrasonic clean it, but for now I'm just gonna clean it as best I can. I don't know what this stuff is. Looks like milk. This could actually be a previous liquid damage that the kids haven't told me about. It's had a HDMI which I haven't cleaned up very well, but never mind. Okay. Ah, right. Yeah, so now I'm seeing some obvious liquid damage that could actually affect the console. I don't know what this is all over this board. This is why I say you're going to change your perception of me. Not a clue. My consoles don't look like that. I took mine apart on live stream the other day and it was absolutely pristine. Like my Xbox, the one that I actually use. Yeah, it's everywhere. Whatever it is, it's absolutely everywhere. I don't know what it is. But it's going to have to be ultrasonic cleaned at some point. So it's all over here as well by the Wi-Fi and stuff. So I'm just going to scrub it with a brush. This isn't going to get it fully cleaned, but it will help. I'll do this with the overhead cam because it's easier to see. But I'm just dropping IPA everywhere and just giving it a really, really good clean. Just absolutely everywhere. Just try and get rid of whatever this is that's on the board here. And if you heard that beep in the background, that was my son just turning up. So he gets a school bus. He gets picked up and taken back and dropped off back from school, because obviously he goes to a what they call an SRP, which is a special resource provision. So basically, there's him and like 7 other kids with needs. There's the culprit. So, yeah, that's the culprit of this damage. That's Cody. Alright, so, yeah, just give this a real good clean. I am going to ultrasonic it, though. Okay, Let's try this again now. I'll try inside this housing, and then if that don't work, I'll try it in a different housing. I'll try replacing the power supply. This front panel is rusty. That's going to need sorting. So the front USB panel, that's rusted. And the front panel ribbon's just come out. So what I've really done to this is just cleaned it. I haven't done anything else yet. If it doesn't work, I'll try another power supply, and if that doesn't work, then I'll connect it up to diagnostics. So I'll just press and hold on that just to make sure it doesn't overheat. Okay, it's not attempting to power on at all now. I've got one just here with a known working power supply. It's got no front panel flex, but I can sort that. Okay, that is beeping. Yeah, it's killed the power supply. Something's happened to the PSU. So the board is actually working. Is it going to boot to a white light? That's the question. Yes, it is. And now the other question is it going to turn on and work? Or is it going to display rather? So it should show up on that screen there, and there you go. Yeah, it is working. So I think the power supply is dead. So I'm going to shut this down. The speaker's a bit quiet because I've just had isopropyl alcohol in it, but that's fine. So I'm going to give it a full clean using the ultrasonic cleaner, and while that's doing, I'm going to have a look at the power supply. Right, okay, I got a little bit carried away. I was going to have a look at the power supply before I actually, while this was cleaning, but I've set up my ultrasonic cleaner and I am completely out of ultrasonic cleaning fluid, which means that I had to stay with it. I couldn't leave it unattended because I was using just isopropyl alcohol, but it's come out looking beautiful. There's some staining on the ground plane, but I'm not going to get rid of that. I've got no chance. Obviously, you know, I could sit there and scrub it a little bit more, but yeah, it's not going to get rid of the staining around the ground plane, but that's not going to hurt it. The main point is the board is now clean and it should be okay. So yeah, happy days. So yeah, board's clean, but this power supply, the one that's in this original console, is very obviously faulty. So I'm going to be swapping the case because the case is absolutely mangled. But the main thing here is I want to look at the power supply and just see what's actually happened to it because, well, obviously it's a result of the drop, so chances are it's probably cracked a solder joint or something. So I'm going to take a look at that. I'm going to put some more gloves on because, well, again, this console's filthy. So yeah, put some more gloves on. I'm going to get the power supply out and I'll strip the power supply down. The rest of this is going to get scrapped. You know, even the heatsink. The heatsink's actually dented by the look of it. So everything on here, this entire console, is going to get scrapped. I'm not going to reuse any of the parts. Not even the case. All I'm going to be reusing is the motherboard. So I'll just get rid of all of that and wow. I really do not know what any of this is, but that, oh, that's disgusting. That is disgusting. So yeah, this all just needs to go. Like the lot of it just needs to go. I can't reuse that. I don't recommend working on power supplies at all, but I'm just going to look at this because I'm more intrigued than anything as to what's actually happened to it. A lot of the time when you have a faulty power supply as a result of drop damage, it's normally down to something like a broken solder joint on the transformer. So yeah, it might actually be a case where I can repair it, but yeah, we'll see. I'll have a look. I don't recommend prying into power supplies with metal objects, by the way. That is definitely not something you want to be doing. Do as I say, not as I do. But power supplies are dangerous to work on, so consider this fair warning that I'm not going to be offering any kind of advice. And anything you do to a power supply as a result of this video is at your own risk. I'm not going to be held responsible at all if you hurt yourself. Okay, So we've got the primary and secondary transformers here, and yeah, they don't appear loose. So I'm wondering how this has possibly become damaged. I'll have a look under the scope and see if I can see anything closer up. So we've got one of the transformers here. That one don't appear damaged. Or at least it doesn't appear as though the solder joints have broken. So what I'm looking for here are signs of any cracked solder joints on the transformers. You know, some of the heavier components. I'm looking for any signs of, you know, damage to the PCB itself, so like a crack in the PCB, something like that. It's a bit dusty inside there, but not really worried about that. It's very possible that some of these wires could have become broken, or it could just be that it's just completely dead for no reason. Okay, well, let's have a look under... Well, let's check the voltage on it. So, to check the voltage, I'm going to need to plug it in. So, I'm going to say now, be very, very careful plugging it in while everything's exposed like this. Actually, I didn't check the fuse. No, that's not loose. So there's an input fuse just by the mains in. That wasn't loose, so... Okay, so we're getting power in. I've just heard the snap and fizzle of that. So I'll set up my multimeter then. Being careful to keep my arms away from it. Away from the power supply. So I'm going to go into voltage mode here. So I'm on DC volts. And now I'm getting 12 volts. So why was it working before? Okay. Strange. Alright, so power supply's back together, but I'm not going to use this one anyway. But yeah, that's just very, very strange how now it's suddenly working. It just doesn't make any sense to me at all. But yeah, I don't know. Having said that, I do just need to strip this down because I need to get to the front panel on this housing. While I'm in here, I am going to clean this out. So I'll just go outside and just blast this with air. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to grab this replacement power supply. There we are. And then I also need the front panel ribbon, which I'm going to take off the other console. So that's that there. So I'll just remove this little plate here, this little EMI shield. These ports are actually all good. They're not rusted or anything. So I can use that on there. So yeah, there's a replacement front panel, front USB and power button. These are not going to be what was causing it to not turn on. It was very likely down to some of the liquid damage that was on the board. And obviously cleaning that off has allowed it to boot up and stuff. So the problem is corrosion is conductive, and obviously if the board's got corrosion on it, it means pins are touching where pins shouldn't touch, and you know, stuff like that, and obviously that causes short on the board and stuff. So yeah, not great, is it, when that happens? Okay, I'm going to reuse this liquid metal what's on here. So this is from a console that I stripped down the other day. And there we go. So that's that side done. Now what I need to do is prep this side, the APU side. I'll use the same cotton swab for that. And because I've cleaned all of this properly, I don't need to do anything other than give that a little bit of a scrub with some liquid metal on the cotton swab itself. And that is now prepped. I'm going to put this foam back on. And then I'm just going to group up the liquid metal that's around there. And damn it, a little bit of IPA is transferred. No, I need to redo that. That's pretty annoying. Alright, finally that's sorted out enough to be able to get it all prepped and ready. Let's just add some liquid metal to that. There we are. And that's done. That's ready. Okay, it turns on. Good. That's what I like to see. So everything appears to be working then. Obviously I need to test the disk drive, but I need to replace the top plate. I need to put that back on. I don't think that's damaged enough to justify replacing it. I think it's going to be a waste if I replace that. So yeah, I'll just give this a clean and call it good. You know, this is, I mean, if this was a customer's, I'd be replacing this just because it's got some signs of liquid damage and stuff, but it doesn't belong to a customer, so I'm just going to use it. Why not? So yeah, I'm going to get this all fully back together and reassembled and enough for testing, and hopefully we're good to go. One thing I've just realised as well is I forgot to put the battery back into this, so I'm going to have to do that. Good thing is I can do that without taking it back apart. So the battery is just under here, so you can get to it from there. You don't need to actually fully open the console up to be able to get to that. So yeah, just pop the battery back in, make sure that goes in. And now that I've done that, I should make sure it turns back on. And it does. Awesome. So yeah, just thought I'd just let you know about that. So I've got to wait for it to boot up and then I can shut it down. There we are. Right, so I've got a back cover in better condition than that one, but I don't have any front covers at the minute. I do have some, but not here immediately. So that one's replaced. I do need to replace these fan vent grills as well because they got broken. So yeah, there's a couple of things I'm going to need to do with this. I'm going to need to replace the plates. I'll probably get some dark plates for it, to be honest, because they do look nice. But these, I mean, these will probably clean up okay. At least this one will. The other one was all scratched and chipped. It must have been the side it landed on. But yeah, this one will probably clean up okay. Not sure what's on it. Maybe not. I'll probably get some. I think I've got some dark plates actually. I think I've got a set somewhere. So yeah, I'll probably replace the plates at some point. But I mean, at least the console's working, right? There we go. Yep. So white light. There we go. So that's displaying absolutely fine. I'll just sync a controller. What's just gone on with this? Oh, okay. That was weird. It's not the console. That was my screen. My screen just somehow, for some reason, turned off. Yep, that's working. So I've just disabled HDCP. Okay, that's working. Okay, so update later. Disk drive's working. Yeah, there we go. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I really don't know what caused it to not work. It was probably something to do with the liquid damage that it had sustained. But yeah, Anyway, the main thing is it's working. This power supply is outputting 12 volts, but whether or not it's safe to use, I don't know. So I'm not going to use it just to err on the side of caution. It's had a full clean of Ultrasonic the board. I've sorted all of that out. I will replace the plates with some dark plates at some point, but for now it'll just have to do as it is because, well, I can't be bothered to find them, to be honest. So, yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you do have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section down below. I'll always do my best to answer. If you need to organise a repair, you can get in touch with me at thecodat.repair. The link will be in the video description for that, as well as the link to my online store where you can buy parts and supplies for the PlayStation 5 and other consoles as well. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Check me out over on TikTok and check me out on Twitch as well. And I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.